You are listening now to the Spirituality Now podcast, the show that is solely focused on practical spirituality, leadership, and mindset skills with the aim and purpose of supporting you master your life. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. Welcome to the Spirituality Now podcast. I am your host, Ivonne de la Flor. Welcome those who are watching us on YouTube. Welcome those who are listening to us in Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Amazon Podcast, Google Podcast. It sounds like it's a commercial, but it isn't. Spotify, anywhere where the podcasts are. Thank you for listening to us, for subscribing, for sharing. Remember, we're a philanthropic-based podcast. What does that mean? That means that we are self-sponsored. Our company, Del Flor Teaching, sponsor it, and we're produced by our own production company, Brilliant Futures Productions, so that you get the wisdom of our guests purely, solely, without me selling you the next new flavor of gum or what incense you should buy. I mean, I'm not close for that into the future as we are hopefully growing and hopefully, scaling soon. But for now, I want you to have the full wisdom of our guests for you. I've been very fortunate serving in this podcast because I get to literally sit with these incredible souls, gorgeous, by the way. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see why I'm saying gorgeous. You know, my guest today is gorgeous, like physically, mentally, spiritual, everything. But I get to be with them and a little bit of them, and I hope this is for you too, of their wisdom or of the diverse way to see life imprints my soul and imprints the way I serve humanity, and hopefully it does that for you. You know, there's a saying that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. We are in 100 something people here right now. So I hope that these episodes, that these incredible souls that we get to interview and receive their wisdom from, benefit you for your life and for your abundance and for all. Anyways, enough about me. So and my introduction. So really now the introduction that I want to share with you is my guest, the beautiful Shannon Kelly, who is a former professional dancer, an academic teacher, respect for that, turned body language expert. So, oh my gosh, my body language is a little bit excited and nervous, and presentation maestro. I love that. She understands the importance of effective communication and believes that everyone, I love that everyone has the potential to be an iconic presenter. And it is her mission to help people realize exactly that. Her approach is to mentor speakers in the art of speaking. It is an art and it requires a lot of training and practice, both verbally and non-verbally, so they can deliver their message with confidence and precision. With her guidance, people are able to captivate their audience and leave a lasting impression. And I think she's really genuine too. So with further ado, with no more further delay or ado, Shannon, welcome to the show, love.
Thank you so much for having me. And I love being on your show because who knows communication better than you as well? So I cannot wait to back and forth with you. This is going to be just euphoric.
Okay, I just received I'm a believer of the opposite. So it's good to have an expert like you telling me something like that because I can always better my skills, and I think I'm going to ask you a lot of those questions. This word in your bio that caught my attention when I read it. To share with precision, Shannon. I have ADD. I have all the excuses of I'm a Mexican, I do Spanish, I shift from Spanish to English. I'm rarely very precise and specific. I would also love to hone my skills more on that. So anyways, your words are received in my heart and I'm going to take them. I'm going to accept them right now. But it's really an honor to have you. Again, every guest that I have that I met through the group and the mentor that we mutually have, I feel I need to pay tribute to them first. And a couple of people now began to ask me if I have an affiliate to them because I speak a lot about them. But I met Shannon thanks to Tim Grover, the legendary mentor of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and yours truly, you know, yours truly, Shannon's truly, and an incredible human being. And thanks to Tim and to his partner Shari Wang, I've been able to meet incredible people, and a lot of them have been my guests, and Shannon is one of them. So, Shannon, let's begin with you now that I pay tribute to where tribute is due. Let's start with Shannon as a little girl that most probably, usually in our infancy is when our calling, right? In the spiritual traditions, it's called our dharma, our mission, and however you want to call it, but it's a calling, right? A calling and events that happen in your life that begin to pave you and direct you into what you're going to help others in their lives too. So tell me a little bit about who Shannon was and is as a child and what began to brew you, that I do tea, right? To brew you, to shape you into the service that now you deliver.
Oh, you speak so well. You story tell so well. The way that you start and then middle and then end, it's just incredible to hear. And I love that. And I'm so grateful to you to listen to you speak. So this is you're doing exactly what you need to be doing. So thank you so much, Miss Yvonne. I started off in dance as a really young child, and I love movement. I love moving, but I also love entertaining. I love having fun. And I see some people who don't do that. Not that they don't want to have fun, but some don't know how. They don't know how to express themselves and feel safe in doing that and allowing their inner child to come out as adults. So as a child, I was very much drawn to anyone that was fun, any movement. So I kind of put those two things together. And as I grew into an adult, I realized that something that didn't change was that childlike behavior inside of me. And I'm trying to help others identify the child within them and allow a safe space for them to express their inner child, to have fun and really connect with who they are, because that's where charisma comes from. It's who you really are. And then how to pull it out from people. That's my expertise, because I can see things that other people can't. And it actually surprises me that you are so surprised by all the things that I've noticed about you, because, it's wow, you're incredible. So yeah, that's what happened.
Wow, I muted myself. I'm making notes. It's really, we are recording this podcast. It's going to come out in 4 or 5 weeks in times where humanity is going through incredible sorrows, incredible crimes committed against humanity, right? We're recording where it's very fresh, the Israel Palestine wars, and a lot is far much more than that, right? It's far much more than that. Anyone that knows history and that understands the past will understand the present and will understand how we can shape in diverse ways the futures. But what I love about interviewing you today in the midst of all of that is that you're bringing joy, that you are bringing fun, that you are bringing play, and that you are bringing it in a way that can actually be practical and functional for people, not only to succeed in life. That's for me. So that's not enough for me, right? Success and attaining money and all of that. I believe anybody can do it, even if it's $1 to 10,000 to a million. But the aspect of really being who you are and returning to who you are and rescuing, restoring, reinvesting in the childhood joy, the exuberance that makes us humans, the exuberance that actually will fuel us to be more capable adults, to be able to help others that are suffering, to be able, I love that you can come. I mean, right now, the feedback that you gave me surprises me because I think the opposite. Obviously, I need a mentor, right? Obviously, I don't teach what you teach, because if I will teach what you teach, probably I will have the skill of self-belief in that. But I always feel like I'm lacking in that area, right? That I could be better. But I love that you started with the joy, because usually, when I ask people about their childhood, it goes to the depths of sorrows that we all have. the challenges that we all have had in one way or another, right? There's no challenge that is, my challenge is bigger than yours. Whatever challenge that people experience, is their level that they experience, right? But I love that you have, and I can feel it in my body, right? The transmission of joy and that childhood exuberance and wonder that can become the battery in your future for you to really take people to the next level of elevation. So thank you for that, Shannon. So you paired, I love this magic, this alchemy that you did. You pair movement with childhood, joy, and now you help people restore that because you've seen, and let's talk about this, which I think is a spiritual disease. People are not having fun. Oh, Shannon, and even though I have fun, I'm so guilty of that sometimes. I'm so effing serious. And sometimes I take my own spirituality so serious that I'm like, oh, okay, it's okay to have fun. You know, Sophia, that you met, part of our team behind the scenes here, is a good reminder for me. It's like, okay, people, you know, me, supposedly the boss, we're going to have rest, we're gonna have vacation because we work now. You know, Sundays I'm texting her 1 a.m. She texts me at 5 a.m. sometimes and everything. And I need to be reminded of like, okay, play, right? So let's talk about that because I really consider it a spiritual disease of these times where people take everything so serious, right? That suffering has gained a status in our humanity of an idol. It's an idolatry point. Talk to us about fun and why you saw that people were missing that for their own personal development, mastery, and success in life. Talk to us about that.
Oh, I love that question. That's fantastic. I think it's interesting how I know I can only speak for myself, but in history, you notice that even children in certain cultures, you got me teary eyed, my gosh, in certain cultures where they are dressed like adults. You see children in history books that are dressed like adults. And I wonder if it, and I don't know, I wonder if it's perhaps adults who are placing their expectations on little ones. And so throughout the development of childhood, and it's getting less and less, but I've noticed that as I grew up into an adult, I noticed that there were certain expectations of me, and that, oh, you need to behave this way, you need to dress this way, and being silly and joking around is not really acceptable. So I learned that perhaps uh, having that childlike playfulness and that behavior was not accepted. It's not acceptable. And so in order to be a good girl and to behave, then you turn into this sort of automaton, like a robot with sort of like mechanical movements and mechanical ideas. Ideas weren't always accepted as well, like original ideas. No, it has to be this way. There's always rules to follow. And I've never followed a rule in my entire life, not to be disrespectful, just because I enjoy coloring outside the lines. Why is coloring outside the lines bad? In my mind, it's more beautiful. So I find that some people's perceptions of what play is coloring outside the lines. In other words, it's not accepted. And again, it's different. We learned from our mentor that, different scares people. So I think we can kind of interlace a few of these concepts in here as to why that happened. And I can only speak for myself that I know that it wasn't really accepted. So now I'm saying, well, okay, I'll do my best where I can push my boundaries, right? Push the box that I'm in, even though technically there is no box. Some places they do put a box around you. And so you have to kind of push with the boundaries a little bit as much as you can. And that's what I want to help people understand, that here might be your boundaries, but how can we push them a little bit so that way you can come out of that box and blossom into the beautiful person that you are.
Wow. I was like so mesmerized that I forgot to unlock my microphone. I love that. And I love that you said to push the boundaries and to push the boundaries and to push our own box. And I had immediately a visual of myself in a box that, of course, like our mentor says, that we're born relentless and we're taught to relent, right? And that speaks a little bit about what you're sharing, right? But I love that even though when we're inside a box, when you tap into the joy, when you tap into the fun that you help people with, right? We gain a courage. We gain the wings. We put our Superman cape or our Wonder Woman outfit, and we begin to push and dismantle the illusory box, the illusory jail bars that, one, we inherited from other people. Two, we by loyalty kept in place, loyalty to our mom, to our religion, to our tradition, to our religion. And three, that we have built ourselves inside because it is supposedly safe. But Shannon, talk to me about this. I really feel that the safest place to be in the world is not where I feel safe in my little box, but is where I feel wild, where I am breaking my own boundaries, and where I can release the limitations of my mind. Let's talk about that.
Oh, I love that, because when you don't, again, this all kind of stems from what we've learned in our teachings from our mentor. But when you don't have those limitations, there's no visualization of what you should be, and that's the greatest thing. Often, what I notice is that with creativity or with extending the boundaries and your limitations, it's almost like a blank canvas. Some people will look at a blank canvas and say, "Oh my gosh, I've got a blank canvas! Like nothing's there. I can do whatever I want." Others might look at that and feel overwhelmed and think, "Oh my gosh, there's a blank canvas. I don't know what to do there." And so I think just practicing having a blank canvas in front of us and just starting with one stroke kind of thing, and then adding a different color and adding this and adding that, it's almost always just, it's like a workout, right? Once you get started, it's kind of like, hey, you're in it, and there's no more thinking about what should I be doing? Should I be doing this, not doing this? So it's kind of like a lack of judgment when you start painting on that blank canvas, when you start to push past your limitations and get rid of that doubt, because the fear will always be there, but the doubt is something that has to be invited, that we invite in there, and that's what causes those limitations. So I guess if what I'm saying is that if we can just practice more and more, just pushing the limitations a little bit, have a brush stroke here and a brush stroke there and a different color here and a different color there, before you know it, your canvas is filled and you're not judging anymore. You're not so overwhelmed by the blankness of that canvas.
Wow. This is the first time in my life that I think you're more compassionate than I am. And I have the spirituality now podcast, right? But this is the first time that hear this of the white canvas. For me, okay, the dark side just showed up. The black canvas and the white canvas. The white canvas has always represent a new opportunity, a new future, but that's for me. It never occurred to me that for some people that may be overwhelming, right? Because one, we've been told what to think, right? We've been told like this is how you do it, this is how you wake up, this is who you become, you marry, you dress like this, you dance like this, you are a proper like this, like what you said, being the good girl, the good boy, the good woman, the good man, etc., etc. If you paint outside of those lines, you are, my gosh, let's crucify him or crucify her, correct? But I love this, that the white canvas, it can just be with one brush stroke, right? It just, as you were speaking, I was thinking of Miro, I was thinking of Picasso, I was thinking of the unleashment of Tony Robbins says unleash the power within, but with you is unleash the creative inside of your soul, right? Unleash the wild, like rewilding yourself, like many people say, but actually trust that brushstroke, and not like, this is my next question, okay? And not hurry into your own creation. So when you are beginning to learn how to paint your own white canvas, and not be overwhelmed by it, how important, Shannon, is the role of patience?
Oh, that's my nemesis. Patience and I,
Oh,
we
describe it, you too. I mean, my ally. Now I can relate.
right, oil and water, we just know we don't go together. Actually, this is interesting because I've been meditating quite a bit, and I'm so glad that I get to chat with you about this, because what I started was finding different meditation practices to do. And what I've noticed is that throughout the meditation, I started, I think, consistently every day back in June. And since then, I have an awareness that I never had before. So suddenly, I'm gaining all this knowledge around me. I'm starting to really understand things. The answers are just right there. And all I need to do is just meditate on either that or nothing. And I find that my awareness happens. And that kind of facilitates the patience. So that way I can manage one brush stroke and not get overwhelmed by that, or over anxious thinking that, okay, if the more quickly that I do the brush strokes and that I step outside my limitations and do all the things, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be successful either. So as you mentioned, patience is a huge factor in fostering that environment of creativity and pushing the boundaries just a little bit at a time. So that's what I've noticed about my own success that I could share with others as well.
Wow, I'm not, of course, I just catch that you said meditation, and I'm huge in that. I started meditating at 12, but the meditation can be walking, sitting, which, by the way, walking meditation is far much harder than sitting. I don't know what people out there think about, but movement meditation is, my gosh, has been incredible challenging for me. But I love that you said that, and I particularly, held on to something you said, which was, I can meditate about something or nothing. And all the questions begin. My whole inner child and my whole inner system, my soul was lifted up by that comment. So let's talk about that. What is like to, because that's the goal, some of us have been meditating for 20 years and all the thoughts, and here comes Shannon. I started meditating in June. I truly believe that your creative process and your dance has been a meditation, and I meditate on nothing. I mean, that's the goal. That's like, I'm like, okay, welcome to the real Buddhas in life. So tell us about that, how it is to create, to move, to meditate upon nothing. Do your best to explain this.
Yes. So there are times it's almost like, again, not to bring this back into the workout world, but some days I enjoy being on an exercise bike and not thinking about anything. So my mind just goes off, or I'll have a podcast on and listen to that. And that's what I enjoy. And then other times I enjoy actually creating my own exercise, my own workouts. So I don't want somebody telling me what I need to be doing. I want to be focused on all the things that I should be doing rather than doing like a video workout or something like that. Similar to meditation, there are times when I want somebody to guide me. And there'll be times when they kind of tell me what to do, and I'll do that. And sometimes my mind will wander, sometimes it won't, depending on my focus. Other times I'll just close my laptop. I'm at work, so I'll stay at work, and I'll just like close my eyes and I'll just let my mind go. So I'm not really thinking about anything. There might be something on my mind that I want to think about, and then my mind just kind of quiets and it kind of goes blank. And then I come back. It's almost like zoning out. And then I come back and I was like, what just happened for the past like however many minutes? And then the nice thing about that is that it kind of takes you to some place that you're not sure. But the nice thing is that it's not over. And here's why. Because it's incubating, right? It's marinating all the way up there. And then by the time I get home from school or work or whatever, then I start to have these these little hits of intuition, these little hits of like, and then I might listen to a song that I was choreographing to, dance to. And I'll think of a move right there, and I'm like, where did that come from? And I wonder if it's just that silence that happens.
Wow. Shannon, look at me. I'm like, those of you who are watching in YouTube, this is my, I love this. There's so much to just unpack in that wisdom piece that you just shared. Because there, in meditation, in meditative practices, there is a state that one, I don't know if it's a proper thing to say that one reaches, because reaches is like grasping. And one of the things of meditation and correct training and correct practice is even the release of that grasping, even the release of naming, even it transcends the word experience. But what you said represents something that in many traditions is called samadhi, which is meditative absorption, that you become so absorbed with the moment where your mind has no other chance but to return to its nature, which is quiet, which is there's a teacher, his name was Stuart Wilde, incredible and smart guy, who wrote a book called Silent Power. And the silent power is that power that emerges from the etheric field, from a movement, from our choices, from something that cannot be spoken, but you can feel, right? You can feel it in the great speakers. You can feel it in people that know themselves. You can feel it in the people that have tremendous moral authority, like Tim, right? Like our mentor. He has this moral authority that is like, oh shoot, I'm glad I'm on his side of war, right? I don't want him as my enemy, right? But this what you said, that it continues, and that's one of the aspirations of proper practice, that you don't go to meditation just to have one moment, right? You practice and consistently continue to do that, even do, I don't know if that's the proper way to say, even though there's not the like, oh, I'm enlightened. No, enlightenment is the beginning of a journey, right? But when you consistently practice and you keep moving into that, you have that what you just shared, that is, it begins to permeate and come with you in your next moments, and you begin to receive these nuggets of wisdom. I don't know how you call them, but these little pieces of information that inform you into your next, awakening or creativity and level. That's incredible. So Shannon, talk to me about dance, because I respect anyone that can dance. I respect anyone that can have a flow and beauty and grace and movement. Talk to us about that. How has that impacted your life, and how does that help other people's? Like, how could it help me? Like, I truly believe, like, I'm not a dancer. See the belief? I'm not a dancer. And I've seen you. I've watched your videos in our group, in our mentorship group that we are members of. And I was like, wow, I could do that, with her guidance. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the liberating power of dance and movement, and how it can help people, or people like me that have the erroneous belief that, oh, I cannot do that.
So your right is erroneous, because I've seen you dance before. I've seen you move. And even with your body language that you're using to explain things, it's helping to absorb the message better. So it's interesting how you think that perhaps that you don't have the maybe the dance training. But the nice thing is that this flows really nicely into what I'm about to say to answer your question, is that even if somebody doesn't have dance training, like official dance training in a certain style of dance, just movement itself, there's no right or wrong way to do it. And I said to our mentors, with Sherry and Tim, and I said, there's no right or wrong way to dance. Dance is expressive, it's subjective. So there's nobody that says you have to do it this way. Yes, there are dance steps that you can do, but you can make up your own, and that's dance. So the nice thing is that actually everybody can dance, because they have their own. And here's the biggest part: they need to listen to their own metronome. One of my my most appreciative qualities, that something that I'm so in love with about myself. I'm so in love with myself. No, this one quality that I know is my inner metronome, because nobody else has that. Right? It's that thing that keeps a beat in your heart, in your soul, in your being, in your spirituality. It's your energy, it's your vibration, that nobody else has that chemistry. So that is what makes you you, and that's part of your charisma. So you can interlace that with everything, with dance, with speaking, with anything that you do with spirituality. It's all encompassing, which I love. So my joy, what I get joy out of noticing people's metronome, their inner metronome, and how to get them to hear it and to see it and to be it, embody it. And that just gives me goosebumps. I got goosebumps right now talking about it. I'm so glad you asked me that, because that is something I want people to really appreciate about themselves and embody.
Wow, that this is just right there, the inner metronome of each of us. I think that's how we're going to call this podcast. That just gave me goosebumps, and I began to hear, like, oh, I have my own rhythm, right? I have my own cadence. I think that's how you call it in English, and that pairs very well with spiritual science, which the spiritual science tells us, right, and helps us experience nature not as something outside of ourselves, but us as part intrinsical, a very important part of nature. We are nature itself. And when we can tap into that, I love how you called it inner metronome. I hope you write a book about this, right? And this is for Shannon only, people. It's, and but I love that it can help us, recalibrate, restore, or reinvest in ourselves in a way that we heed the call of our own nature and we move with that. You see, I'm already like, I'm about to dance, Shannon.
I
But
love it.
that it can really restore us into who we have always been, which is who we are, right?
Exactly. You put that so well. I might hire you to you do all the writing for me, and we put it up on my website.
Yeah, I got therapy today, a coaching. Your coaching has been incredible. I'm going to require to listen over and over again, because what you said is like boom, 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 right? And I got a job. Everyone,
There you
everyone,
go.
oh, this
What a
this
day.
oh my gosh, what a day! This podcast is getting better and better by the week. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Shannon, I love this, and I love your enthusiasm. And again, I really feel that we need this enthusiasm more than ever that we need this dance more than ever, that we need to focus on this joy, on restoring ourselves. And I love that you said that you love yourself. Most teachings in spirituality, in Zen traditions, in Buddhist traditions, some of them, not all of them, even in Christianity, etc., etc., etc. One of the pursuits that you have to understand it well, because if not, there's a lot of misinterpretation, is the annihilation, not annihilation, but the dissolution of the self. And so when we speak about self love, for some people that are very, by the book, spiritual, they think, oh, that's so selfish. But actually, the dissolution of the self is the appearance of the I am, is the appearance of who you came here fully to be, which is maybe call it the higher self, the I am presence, and that love that you have for yourself. I love that you shared it so childlike, so beautiful. Our mentor, Tim, is such a big child. I love that of him. He's always having fun. I recently saw a video of him that he was in an airplane, so surprised that the spoons are magnetic. I mean, I was like, who does that? Only him. Like he's meant to be one of our mentors, right? But I really appreciate that you are bringing this naturalness, this nature of the mind, this is simplicity and movement to a world that is so constricted, so tied by its own beliefs. So, how, Shannon, when you coach people, when you work with people, what are the problems you've seen you have been able to resolve? Let's go first there, and then the solutions you've been able to create upon those problems. What are the problems, and what are the solutions for those problems with the help of your work?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to tell you about that because it's so fun to see the before and the after. And usually the before, some of the things that I've seen are, of course, again, that the erroneous thought of I can't move, I can't dance, therefore I'm just going to stand behind a lectern or I'm going to walk very minimally across the stage. And so again, my teachings would help them identify their own inner metronome and how to really embody that. And when I love my favorite pastime hobby is watching people walk because I love to see how they glide across the stage. Some of them have the accents up, da 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 da. Some of them are a little bit heavier and the accents are down, up, down, and they spend more time in the down than they do on the up. So ergonomically speaking, that tells me where their weight is going in their body and how much time they're spending sitting in the hip or if they're on their heels or on their toes. So things like that, I look at that and I say, okay, where's the weight transfer happening? And then we play around with that to see if we can pull out their more natural way of being on stage. So rather just than a walk, more of like, how can we accent parts of their movement in their body language that really pull out the inner child and allow that to be seen, because a lot of what people don't understand that communication is connecting with the other people on the other side of the camera or on the other side of the stage. And so to be able to connect with people, we have to be who we really are. We have to bring down those walls a little bit, not fully, but enough that people can see who we are. And so kind of exposing a little bit, I know exposing is kind of a harsh word, but unveiling, unearthing a little bit of that inner child and that inner metronome to the audience. That's how we do that. So through body language, through speaking, through movement on the stage, through the wording that we use to connect with the audience. That's what we work on together. So, I mean, I've seen things like people who are afraid to they use the lectern or a podium like a security blanket. And yeah, so there's things like that. And then having visuals, a lot of people say, oh, we don't have visuals. Like it's just about what we're saying. And it's like, yeah, but we're visual creatures as well. And we want to see more than just you up on stage. We want to see diagrams or pictures or memes or something we can relate to. And that helps, of course, all kinds of things. It helps with audience retention. It helps with connection. It helps with body language moving across the stage. So these are some of the things that I typically see in my clients and that I develop in them. And we work together to figure out what works best with what they're trying to say, how we can word it better, how we can demonstrate it better. And that's the basis of my programs that I work on with my clients.
Wow, this was Shannon. This is not a podcast. This just turned into a master class, and you see me. I'm doing a lot of notes. Wow. I have a lot of injuries, as you know, right? And a lot of people that I know, they have injuries, right? Because whatever, broke this leg, broke this knee, broke this ankle, the arm that I cannot move this hand. And I'm very expressive, as you can see. So one of my challenges when I'm on stage, right, when I'm speaking, is the microphones, because I have this micro when they don't have the access to, what is it called, those portable little microphones, and they give me a handheld microphone. It's like I'm like, I forget to speak on the microphone. I'm opening my arms and everything. And so with your awareness of that, of the walking and everything, I began to feel my cadence, my rhythm, and that's phenomenal, Shannon. I think it's phenomenal the work that you are doing, and I hope that very soon we can do an assessment, because I walk like the penguin. I think that if I had a competition with the penguin, the bad guy of Batman, I like that. Him and no, I wouldn't win. He's still the best. But how do you deal with that? Like, so people that are, that's something I've seen, that people hide themselves behind a podium because it gives them safety or security. But how do you help people that have like injuries, or that have not felt safe? Because walking in stage is like walking in life, right? Well, for me, it's like, how do you express in life? It's the same at the stage, and how much you care about the audience. It's going to reflect to you in your body language too, right? And after this, we'll go to body language. But how do you help someone that has been highly traumatized? That is not safe to walk on the stage of life. What are some of the little baby steps that they could do, and that you can help them with to open up to life, to open up to the stage that life is?
Great question. I usually ask them what they do for fun. What do you do for fun on your pastime? And then we try to mimic that on stage. So if we can bring that sense of happiness and calm and playfulness from in here and up here, then we can bring that on the stage. And then it becomes less about me on stage telling somebody something, or them on stage telling somebody something. It's about them being on stage, sharing their fun with everybody. And then it becomes more of like, I want to give. It's not more of like, oh, they're judging me and I'm up here. It's more of like, how can I share this joy with everyone? And then it becomes really inclusive.
Wow, Shannon, you're speaking like a spiritual teacher. Let me tell you why. Because again, the pursuit, one of the most beautiful spiritual pursuits, I don't know why we call them spiritual. We just should call it like common humanity, just being a morally good human. But one of the pursuits is that, the eradication of the selfish self is about, once you know who you are, and you're really establishing you really genuinely connect to others. You are really serving others. But I love the reminder of we keep circling back to this. I ask them what they do for fun. Oh my gosh, my first class teaching speech that I did, it was for 60 parents in the school of my little kids. I got all the parents of the generation of my kids to teach something called the parent talk system, that I was the first one to bring it into Mexico, right? And Chick Mormon was my teacher. I brought him to Mexico, to Cancun, etc. And one of my assignments as a certified trainer was to teach in order to learn and to certify others. So, but I remember my teacher having his phone number back in the days, many, many months ago, Shannon, right? Many years ago, almost 20 years now, in the training manual, it said at the end, that I don't know how many people read it in little notes. The day that you do your first training, call me before you teach. And I saw that. And I called him and I said, Chick, I'm about to train. I'm so nervous. All the parents of the school, I'm going to be judged. It was all about me, 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 me. I'm worried and all of that. And I said, any advice? And he said, yes, have fun. Shannon, that clicks something in my brain. I do not understand it. But the moment he said that to me, my fear went off. I really genuinely started to have fun, and I was no longer afraid to make mistakes. I was going to use the situation as feedback, etc., etc. I got tremendously judged, but the fun was first. And I love that you keep circling back to people on that. I think is such an essential aspect to heal a lot of the ailments that humanity's experience. I really feel you have a very powerful medicine in that. And obviously, you are a pro in what you do. I mean, I can tell not only by your body language, by your speech, but by the incredible knowledge and circling back to certain themes. I'm so grateful for you. So let's talk a little bit because we're about to approach the end of this show, which I could go on and on. let's talk about the importance of body language. What I don't know what to ask you because it's so intrinsically powerful, that tool, right? And what has body language taught you? And how have you been able to use it instead of as a weapon that many use it as a weapon of mass destruction to others? How have you used body language skills and tools, and you're mastering it as a weapon of mass creation?
Oh, another great question. I completely resonate with what you just said because some people can use it to manipulate. And a lot of in material in my book that I have that I just finished writing the other day that's going to be coming out soon, but it's not about that. What I want to share with you is that I wanted to make sure that the reader knows that it's not about persuading people to manipulate them. It's about how can you persuade them to make an impact, a positive impact. And that's where we're using this for good, not evil. And so I believe that if you choose the right body language, you can connect with humans on such an intrinsic level. Again, your metronome can connect with their metronome. And that's really what it's all about. It's all about all of us, just like we're talking about in nature, that sustainability of connection that we have to each other on this planet. And how you can do that is showing, again, more vulnerability. Now, not to the extent you want to show that you are an authority, that you're an expert on what you know. So there's some power poses that you can do with the hands on the hips and things like that. But if you vary things like that with an exposed wrist instead of pointing, people point and things like that, and it's there's a place for it, but then you retract it. You say, hey, I got an idea right there, and then you pull it in, and then you present, and then you pull it in, because now you've got a good cadence, as you said, a good cadence of authority mixed with vulnerability. And when you get that, the human brain detects things that we don't consciously know. So the human brain can, and the reason for this is that it's our first safety. And when people say they get a gut feeling, that's because that's the subconscious brain typically picking up on people's like micro expressions. So things that they wouldn't normally, say like, oh, hey, I saw that little twitch. So what that does is all those little things people pick up on. So when you do have a balance of this and a this and a this, it helps people's brains to kind of fall back a little bit so they're not on the defensive, so that way they can start to listen, because really at the end of the day, to connect with another is allowing that emotional brain to be exposed, to be readily available, so that way we can hear somebody's message. So body language has a huge impact on allowing the listener's brain to just kind of, I always do this expression. I'm kind of thinking of like a flower, and it's just kind of opening up, and it's saying, okay, I'm ready to receive.
Wow, Shannon, it's mesmerizing to also watch your body language and to, right now I was seeing a lotus flower opening up, right? It's so powerful. Is it appropriate to share about your book right now in the show? I want to invite you again when your book comes out. Please come back, whenever you want, so we can speak thoroughly of this. But is it appropriate to share what's the name of your book and when is it coming out, or not yet?
Yeah, so it's called the Charismatic Speaker's Playbook. The Charismatic Speaker's Playbook. So it's all about the body language, and it's all about everything that we've just been talking about. And I just finished writing it, so I'm going to get it published hopefully within a week, and then there it is.
Wow, I commend you for that. I mean, commend you for that, because publishing a book is major leagues, but it's also a beautiful offering that you can do for others to serve. And with your skills and your knowledge, I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to have you back after I read it, so we can talk thoroughly about your book. So, Shannon, we come to the end of this dance that I believe we did together, and this. Masterful sharing of communication that you did. I love the inner metronome. I mean, I know in myself how obsessed I am. Now I'm going to be like watching people like this, like really obsessive, like trying to find and trying to find me and trying to match inner metronome with inner metronome. So it's quite an obsessive part of the good ADD phenomena that I have going on. But we have a kind of a ritual in our show of giving something to the audience, a blessing, a wish for them to a practice, something for them to do. before we go. And obviously, everyone, as usual, we are going to let you know when you can reach Shannon, where you can contact her for coaching, mentorship, public speaking. I really recommend her, especially after having her in our show, for her book, website, social media. We are in charge of doing that. She's not in charge of doing that. We're going to make sure you have it all in the copy. And so if you have a blessing for us or something to do and a call to action for everyone in the audience, what would that be, Shannon?
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think how I would start is play around with, even with dance. Let's just talk about play with dance, because movement, we move every day. Whether or not we've got injuries or not, there's different ways that we move. Our whole, what's it called? Our autonomic system. It's just the parasympathetic, it's working and it's moving without us even really doing anything. So what I want everybody to try is try different styles of movement. I want everybody to think about levels: high, medium, low. Can you walk really high? Can you walk kind of medium? And then can you walk down further down to the ground? Can you take up space? Can you move to the right? Can you move to the left? Can you move front? Can you move back? Play around with different qualities. Can you move heavy? Can you move light? Can you move like, what's it called? Robotic? Can you move smooth? And just to play around with all those textures of movement. It's not even really dance. It's just movement. And if you can find that play, you'll be able to find your inner metronome just that a little bit easier, where you can kind of sense, where do you like to go most? Do you like to be at the high level, the medium level, the low level? Do you like to go left, right, more, or left more than you like to go right? Do you like to go front more than back? Do you like to have heavier movements? Do you like to have choppier movements or smoother movements? So play with that. See where you like to go the most and where you go most often. And there's your inner metronome.
Wow. You saw me. I was taking a little video of you because I want to share it in our group in our mentorship group. I am fascinated, mesmerized. I can feel my body. I'm going to practice what you brought us today, because I believe you not only shared, this was not an interview, this was like a class. You were so generous on sharing your expertise, and that's rare to see, right? We are so fortunate at the Spirituality Now podcast. Everybody comes and gives their all, right? And it's an honor to have you. It's an honor to learn from you, and I can't wait to dance. And thank you for the reminder of fun. Every time, it's like play, have fun. I'm like, okay, Ivonne, okay, I have permission by myself and also by my ally Shannon. Thank you so much, love, for being here. And we look forward to welcome you back when your book is published. We can't wait to read it. We can't wait to recommend it for our audience. And to everyone that listened to us, dance with us, move with us, thank you so much. Remember to send your feedback, your questions is highly appreciated. Help us share this podcast, because that's the way we grow. And we will see you next week with another great guest. And we send you a big kiss. Un besito. Adios.
We hope you enjoyed this new episode, and if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere where you prefer to listen to your podcast. Make sure to check the links to everything we mentioned in this episode. For more news, future or past episodes, or for any other inquiry, please visit our website at delaflorteachings.com. Once again, thank you for listening to the Spirituality Now podcast.